Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. About a year ago, I walked away from the social media platform Twitter due to its toxicity, but also the toxicity that was coming out of my own self. It brought out a side of me that I absolutely hated, and I wanted to sit down today and talk to you about this, why I walked away from Twitter 1 year ago, how I feel, and the different feeling and perspective that I have on social media at this point in my life. I think it's something that everybody should do, if not for a longer period of time, at least for a week. But it wasn't just me that was getting dragged into these arguments, into these rebuttals, into this endless cycle of bad news, but also simultaneous clapbacks. It wasn't just me, it was also my girlfriend, Infinity on Hannah. We both felt very sucked into that, and as you can see, there's an open seat sitting next to me today. So, Hannah, why don't you go ahead and join us? And just like that, there's Hannah. She joined us for the conversation. Hannah, Twitter was a part of both of our lives, both good and bad. At one point in time, I would say it was a favorite place of ours to interact with viewers.
Absolutely.
And just to vent our own opinions and feelings. How did you feel walking away from something that was a part of your life? You hate to say like, oh, a social media network, that was such a big part of my life, but
Right.
How did you feel walking away?
I mean, it was kind of bittersweet, but like I was so exhausted and annoyed at that platform that I just wanted nothing to do with it by the end of it. So
Yeah.
It felt good to walk away. And originally this was going to be just like a month break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we kind of just kept it going throughout the whole summer, and then we just never came back, really.
We kind of made a promise to ourselves that even if we did come back, we would never come back to it in the way that we came back before.
In the same way, yeah.
And I know what some of you watching this video right now are thinking, like, is it really that big of a deal? Is it something that actually matters? It impacted us. It was something that on the daily basis, we found ourselves getting into stupid arguments, trying to rebuttal every point, trying to prove something to people.
To strangers.
Yeah, to strangers. We have nothing to prove, and we've realized that so much in the year that we walked away. Now, in those months, yeah, they did initially start off as like a month thing. We're gonna leave it as it is. But the reason why we decided to not ever come back to it the same way as before is because, yes, we do post on there. I post out my videos. If Hannah uploads a video, she generally will post a tweet. She enters contests and stuff on there.
Things
exactly.
That I think are important, but I don't regularly use
right.
it.
We do
anymore.
not. For me, since I walked away, we both left July 3rd, 2019. I have not read my replies. I have not checked my notifications on Twitter. I infrequently have checked my DMs because there's fellow creators that reach out to me on there. But I haven't read my timeline, anything like that, in a year. And it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but when I go back and open up Twitter, when I log in to actually post a video or something like that, it's this weird feeling because I can see a few tweets at the top of the timeline, and it's generally people arguing about something or trying to show their point of view on something, their politics on somebody else, and everybody already knows how you feel. And now looking at it from a distance, it's like we were always trying to prove something to people who were generally already on our side.
Yeah, or else generally people that aren't gonna like you anyways, so why are we wasting time trying to prove something to somebody that is just clowning us? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Harassing us, basically.
They want that reaction out of us, and we were giving that to them for the longest time. And 3 words that I think that you used to bring it up that were really important, if you want to go ahead and say them, they were consuming, distracting, exhausting. That was Twitter.
That's Twitter.
That
and
was,
it still is.
It still is.
Even when we do take a glimpse on there, I just want no part of it
it's
at
not,
all.
It's not even just that. I mean, we watch like things like the Philip DeFranco show, and you see all of the things on Twitter. Oh, this person.
Every week there's like 3 different people that got canceled, and it's just the same old bullshit.
Yeah,
the same cycle.
It's like we dug up this old thing that we don't like about this person, and I think that people look for the absolute worst things on Twitter. They always go to that, and they say, you are only as good as this thing. You're only as good as that. Or you said this one time, why aren't your views adding up? And that's where everything, where it relates to us, I think, that's where it came into play, where we're like, we don't know how to handle this. We are hitting breaking points. We are having breakdowns. It's affecting our relationship.
Because you have to realize, like, we're humans too. Like, everybody that uses Twitter that's just like, whatever, a viewer or whatever, somebody that supports other people that have like a following or something. The people with the followings are just people too.
Yeah.
And it's not ever going to be normal to log on to social media and just get flooded with people telling you how horrible you are, that you should kill yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, that negative stuff. Look at this person. ARTV is a horrible person because of this. It starts to make you question your own character,
Right.
and that's where things are crossing the line, because you know who you are.
Right.
We know
and they
that
don't,
we're good people.
They only see a certain aspect of us that we put out online, and I absolutely can be harsh, but it is impossible to tell someone's true character over a social media platform because
Yeah.
we never know, not even just us, any creator in general. Is it just a character that they're playing online? Are they playing it up for the sake of drama or
a lot
views
of
or whatever
people
else?
exaggerate, you know?
Yeah, and I think when it comes back to us, we would just see on a smaller scale those waves of backlash that I think so many people, even in the past year, have seen as a part of cancel culture. And there's absolutely a place and a time to do that, to call somebody out. And I'm not above calling anybody out. If I see something, if I really want to post a tweet about something, I'm going to do it. But the fact is, I was going in and stirring up things that did not need stirring up. I had Twitter beef with everybody from Halsey to Brendan Urie to Austin Knight from Water Parks to Iggy Azalea to Ronnie Radke. And that one, okay, maybe deserved. But still, I was getting baited into these conversations that I didn't need to have. You know what I mean?
A lot of those stemmed from just you posting like an opinion on something, and then their fan base finds it and circulates it, quotes, tweets.
They will see the initial link to the video and will not watch the video, or else I will put out like a little teaser. I used to do something where before I put out a review, I would tease my opinion a little bit online, especially if it was like super harsh, and I'd be like, you know, I fucking hate this. I can't wait for you guys to see the review. I'm gonna really go into my opinion, but people would see the initial tweet, and back then, especially, it was like 140 characters for a while. Now I guess it's 280, I believe, is the limit, you know, and I think that people can't tell tone or can't tell sarcasm. I'm an extremely sarcastic person.
Yeah, well, that's where you get to the point where they start putting words in your mouth. Yeah. And that was happening to both of us
all the time
on a regular basis. Like, you say one thing, and then someone's like, oh, so you think blah, 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 and it's like, no, I didn't say that, but thank you for assuming the absolute worst.
Yeah, people on Twitter especially assume the absolute worst, and you really, obviously, you can't control people because it's their freedom of speech to put it out there. They're gonna think the way they do. But in the year that we left, we both shifted over to using Instagram, and I know this sounds like I'm doing like an ad for them or something. Instagram doesn't need any more advertising, but it's so much healthier there, I think, because there's times like, you know, when you had your grandfather pass away, I think of that. We can turn off the comments. If we don't want to just see somebody troll in the comments or something, we can shut it off, and I think that people see that as us turning off criticism or anything like that. And I will be the first one to admit that, ironically, I do have a hard time taking criticism. I am aware of that. It's something that I think stems from the fact that I was picked on really harshly when I was a kid, and I would turn around like my defense mechanism to like throw back whatever I could in their face, and that brought out the worst part of me on Twitter and places.
Same thing happened to me. I mean, you just kind of get caught up in these battles. Like, I would fight for you, defend you as much as I could.
And the same for me to you.
This is getting so exhausting to the point where we're sitting at home, both on our phones, just in our bed.
Just scrolling
like, fighting
and looking.
and typing, and then it's just like arguing.
And we would say like, oh, we're going to let's walk away for the rest of the night and stuff like that. And we would just hop right back. We would hop right back into it the next day.
It's also, I want you guys to understand, like, put yourself in our place. Like, can you imagine just one day you wake up and, like, tons of people know who you are. Everyone's, like, judging every move you make, everything you say.
And lining up statements to say, this is hypocritical in comparison to this, or you said this one time, how can you say this? Or how can you still listen to this band because you've said this in the past? There's so many different things. And it just got to the point where on July 3rd, 2019, I think the main catalyst for this was the Chase Atlantic situation where I just got swarmed. It was that and some other situation that I can't even remember. We were trying to think about it.
At this point, but I think
it's so far out of my memory now.
I was arguing with some person that I don't even know who they are. It's like, why am I trying to prove something to somebody that already doesn't give a shit?
That was the light bulb, I think, in both of our heads where we were like, what the hell are we doing?
It's like, why am I looking at my phone? Just fucking don't look at it.
Right.
Don't look at Twitter. Don't check it. Let's just stop reading it.
Exactly.
And we tried to do that for a while. Like, let's just delete the app. We'll just check it on the computer.
It doesn't work.
You just kind of have to eliminate
You have to.
it.
We literally, for the first, I think, maybe 2 months, we didn't touch it at all outside of, like, I was getting on to a third-party app called Twitterific, which loads and you don't see anything on screen at all other than the tweet button. Exactly. You can search for other things on there, but it was set up to the point where I can just log on and all it gives me is the option to tweet. And that's all I was doing. I was putting out my videos on there and not doing anything other than that. Now, we gradually welcomed certain parts of it back into us in the sense where it's like, okay, if there's a tweet in an article and I want to read up on this a little bit more, I can click the link and I know now that I'm stronger mentally, that I'm not going to get sucked down this rabbit hole. And we would do everything from searching our own names on Twitter to see what people were saying and all of this. Oh my God.
I have not searched my own name or yours in like 2 years because it like triggered me that much when I was doing that because it was always something negative.
Yes.
And again, guys, put yourself in our place. Can you imagine typing your name on Twitter and like a bunch of people are telling you that you're horrible or talking shit behind your back?
Oh, how shit their videos are and stuff like that.
It doesn't feel good. We are people with feelings and we have mental illnesses. Like I have depression and anxiety. You have anxiety.
And depression.
We both already hate ourselves. So can you imagine being told by like a group of people that you think watch you like that I must actually be that horrible. Why am I even making videos?
But people will say things like, well, it's like, oh, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, you know, essentially.
I hate that excuse.
I do too, because it's like, yes, I know I can, it's like this song, I can dish it out, but
like,
I can't take it. Yes, to an extent.
Yes, you should expect it to an extent, but again, it's not normal to be harassed and basically bullied.
Right, where it's like everything that you say, it's like if you say anything remote, somebody has a problem with it, they're in the replies, they're quoting you, and then of course all of their Twitter followers are joining in on it and clowning on you.
Each other's
and you just get so angry behind the scenes, you're steaming. And in the years since I've left, I mean, like, I let you have my account for a short period of time where I was just like, you know, handle it however you need to. There's been things over the past year that I think I realized about it that I never would have thought about before without this sense of clarity. So one of the things that I want to tell you guys, if you are on social media, if you find yourself getting into arguments, if you're like a fan of a band and you're constantly getting into arguments with people about that band, or if you're seeking out arguments, do not do it. It is so incredibly bad for your mental health.
It's a waste of time.
I know how much I struggle with that outside of having Twitter in my life.
Exactly.
It's a struggle every day, especially given the current circumstances with 2020. There is so much going on that it's not something where you should turn a blind eye to everything going on, but you don't need to be constantly flooded with bad news and negativity. And that is sadly...
It's okay to take a break.
Right. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to say, I'm going to unfollow these accounts. I'm going to stop being a part of these conversations. Because I think 20 years from now, we're going to look back and see how toxic and how damaging it was on this generation. My generation, the generations below us.
It's hitting everybody, man. Like Twitter, even this year, I'm so glad we are not on there because it is so much worse just in the year after.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just so glad to be away.
Yeah.
And another reason why Instagram is so much better, in my opinion, like the story feature, all I can see on there is views. Like I don't get replies, I don't get likes.
Yeah,
it's just, I put something out and nobody can say anything. I like that.
Right.
There's more curation in the feed as well. Like
you can open it up if you want to. We can if we want your opinion in a poll or if we want a Q&A. Yeah, there's so many options there, and
it just feels healthier and safer. I don't feel like I'm getting attacked 24/7. Like on Twitter, I would post literally anything, and there's always somebody replying with something either rude or like, well, actually.
Yeah,
and
or something unrelated where it's like, you know, people would put the worst things that they'd ever seen about us and then blow them out of proportion. Or
people just trying to troll us and again get a reaction out of
us. And
us.
that's on us for giving into those things, and I'm not trying to shake off the responsibility for that because I was a part of it. I mean, I was definitely a Twitter villain there, I think, for a while, and it brought out that villainous side of me, the one that always had to be right, and I still struggle with that. It's something that's, again, a defense mechanism for me because I felt that, like, from the time I was young on, that I always had to prove myself, or that I always had something to fight for. And on YouTube, it's hard to know sometimes. It's like sometimes you'll wake up and you'll just be like, am I a complete joke? Does anybody take me seriously or anything? And
like, what's the point anymore?
Yeah, it's a struggle. It really is an everyday struggle. So we walked away. You also stopped uploading videos for a while, and I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit more with YouTube.
Yeah, I figured people are probably gonna ask, so I should probably address that. Actually, fun fact, I literally almost quit my channel at the end of 2019. I was just gonna make a sit-down video kind of talking about this sort of stuff, and just how, like, my mental health, I don't have any motivation anymore. I really don't have any ideas. My views are going down. I'm losing subs. It's just like, why am I, it's becoming
you felt stagnant.
It's becoming such a burden and, like, pressure on me to, like, come up with something to film every week. I used to film every single week, and I kind of fell off in 2019 because I kind of had to, because I was busy with other work, and that's still true for today.
Right. You graduated college, and you got a job, and you work for me.
I work for you. I edit a lot of your videos. I work on a lot of content with you. We're kind of a team now.
Thumbnails, everything. She's a massive part.
It's very demanding.
Right.
So I wanted to put more effort into that, and I was like, it's okay if I take a step back from my channel. And I'm not quitting my channel. I know you guys should understand, like, look at 2020. Like, do you really think I have motivation to sit down and, like, film anything right now? I really don't.
You upload when the inspiration strikes you. That's something that I think is nice to have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Like, I'm not making a shit ton of money off of this, so I'm not going to push myself every week to, like, just upload to upload.
Why drive yourself into an early grave, like, so to speak, with your channel? Like, why bury it? And if you want to come back, you can. It's there. You didn't delete it. You're not deleting all your content or anything. But it's one of those things, guys, I just want you to understand from not only her perspective, my perspective, but from the point of view as you the viewer to a creator, there is a reason why so many YouTubers are depressed and anxious.
Burnout.
It's because YouTube flashes all of these numbers and metrics and analytics in front of our eyes all the time and says, your video's not doing well, your video's not being chosen enough, here's what you might have done wrong, this video ranks 10 out of 10 among your most recent videos, it's doing the worst out of everything that you've uploaded,
and
what's going on?
You can't help but compare yourself to other creators, other people in the community.
It's so true.
Like, why did their video do so good, but nobody gives a shit about my video?
We still struggle with that.
I struggle with that to this day.
It's the almighty algorithm that we have no control over, or maybe we just made a video that we thought was good that the viewers didn't like as much, and we need to accept that it wasn't maybe something that was maybe it was out of our control completely.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle, and I think social media is just putting more of a weight on that, like Twitter, just that whole culture, which is so toxic. Like, literally everyone on there is just screaming at each other.
Yes,
and
especially now.
That.
Especially now from what I see in coverage in other videos and in the media. It is shouting matches. It accomplishes nothing. You're generally screaming at other people or else clapping back and canceling and everything like that. And for what? For your likes, for your clout, for your retweet?
Think about this. In like 30 years when you're like an adult and have your own kids or something, are you going to think back, like, what was I doing in my 20s? What was I doing in my teen years? Like, I was arguing with people on Twitter about nothing. Shit that literally does not matter anymore.
You do not need to harass people to prove your point of view on a certain, anything outside of music too.
People can have other opinions. I don't know why everyone has to argue about everything. Like, oh, you don't like apple pie. I do. We're still best friends. You could use that with pretty much anything. And I get that there are certain issues.
Actually, that comes in like certain political things. I get it. I know that there's things where it's like you
can't really argue against it, but
especially from like our point of views, from a more progressive point of view, and then you're gonna have people that try to argue.
I would suggest, like, if you are in a heated argument or somebody provokes you, type out a reply to them and just don't fucking send it and then block them and look away.
Right, or mute them and walk away.
Like, you can get that out without actually putting it out into the internet.
People have taken blocks from me and shit way too seriously because sometimes it was just something that I didn't need it in my head. I couldn't put it in front of
you.
You're
getting flooded with the same shit.
Do not take that personally. I'm sure that there's blocks that I've meant, but there's also ones that I haven't meant. Maybe I meant to mute you or whatever.
Clear your head. It's like, I'm just getting everyone out that is showing.
I'm sorry I took it out on you. I'm sorry if it came across as me shutting down any form of like criticism or whatever. There's certain things that I'll admit that I have a hard time handling. But I think to wrap this up, the last point that I want to hit home is that it's important to take time away and to realize yourself who you are. Figure yourself out outside of not just
In
Twitter,
real
but social media.
life.
Figure out who you are beyond the screen, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that
There's more
sounds
life
like,
than that.
there is. I know that can sound a little preachy or whatever, but a year later, I have to say that it's one of the best decisions that we've ever made individually, as a couple, just for our own sanity. And again, don't think that we're never ever gonna be on Twitter, because there's been times over the past year where I needed to ask something and I didn't want to waste using my community
Right.
tab on YouTube, and I just
Yeah.
needed a quick answer to
And-
something. I put it out and I will look directly at just that, but not anything else. It's something that I decided to do for me, you know?
Yeah, and I think also, I've been on Twitter just a little bit more recently because of all the serious shit going on in the world. It's only because I want to be informed and just see, some things, literally people are talking about on Twitter, so I kind of have to
Right, you
dip
need to-
in and be like, oh, what happened? What's going on? But it doesn't mean that I'm, being consumed by it. I'm just checking in, and I will do that from time to time when it's necessary, but it's definitely not an app that I desire to
Right.
check anymore, just
Exactly.
for fun, like it used to be. It used to be such a carefree time for us, and I remember my Twitter account actually got deleted 3 years ago, and
2017.
I was sobbing over it.
Yeah, that's how attached.
And then 2 years later, I leave voluntarily. Isn't that insane how it flipped so quickly?
I think that is the definition of breaking the cycle. And there's so
Yeah.
many cycles that we fall into. There's still so many bad habits that I think that I do have personally, but that is one that I was able to put my foot down on and
And we're
say,
proud of that.
let's break that. So yes, I am proud of that. There's other habits and other insecurities, other things that I definitely need to work on, want to work on, but we should always be trying to better ourselves. And I think that was a great step that we took. And I hope that it maybe helped you in some way, seeing that from our point of view an entire year later. So
I think we would also love to talk about this even more. We do a stream usually every weekend.
Yes,
So
so-
if you want to hear us talk about this a little bit more in depth, get you guys involved, let us know, because it's a lot more fun to just kind of be more free thinking, free flowing.
and interacting with the chat as we do it.
Because I'm
So
sure there's a lot that we didn't cover in this video. We just want to make it brief and just kind of to the point. But
yeah, drop a comment down below if you're interested in seeing that. Also, I will try to include some timestamps so you can kind of jump around to our different points that we touched on throughout this video. Those should be in the description. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for taking the time to hear us out. If you ever had a bad experience with us on Twitter, maybe you
Sorry.
deserved it, maybe not.
Also, we're sorry.
We are sorry.
It's Twitter. It really doesn't matter. at
Don't
this
take
point.
it too personally. Thank you guys. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to Hannah's channel as well. I'll leave a link for that. And go follow us on Instagram. Those are where we're the most active. ARTV John, Infinity on Hannah. Links down below too.